So what happened?
Okay, I'm on stage with the band, feeling invincible, giant sound, right? That sounded so good in the bedroom. Bright, active bass, piezo bridge.
Zing!
Yes, just cutting through everything.
Yeah.
And then I heard a board tape of it back, and I sounded like...
Listen, getting a really great bass tone can actually be a little trickier than you might think. So in this video, we are going to be giving you 5 top tips to superpower your bass tone. If you are brand new to SPL, I really recommend that you go and grab our free bass toolkit. I will put the URL on this screen for you to go and get it, or you can just click the link in the description below. Now, what is tip number 1, Ian?
It's understanding that great bass tone is totally subjective. It's about references, it's about your taste. I have a jazz bass here with fresh round wound strings. I was using both pickups and I'm playing this flea bass line.
Okay, and I've got this Fender P bass with flats on,
Yes.
and if I play that, it sounds wacky. Like, it kind of sounds cool, but in your mind, if you were thinking, oh, this is the bass tone, if
Right.
you're thinking that's the bass tone I'm hearing in my head, and you hear this, you'll be like, ugh. And I can actually remember doing that. It is really subjective. Now, the other example you gave was...
So, and it was really hard for me
yeah.
to just do that with this sound and not try to amend my pickups and my hands to do this. But if I just play this wide open, too hard. Now, like, there could be a treatment of that tune. That's Ain't No Mountain High Enough, right? There could be a treatment of that classic Jamerson bass line with a punchy sound like that, but that's not the vibe of the original, certainly. Whereas if you played it on this bass...
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yes.
It really is.
A punk rock thing with a pick, right? So you always think P bass with a pick, but here's a jazz bass, neck pickup, round wound strings. You get this. And if you play it on this bass...
I love this album, by the way.
So different. And I don't think this is bad, but it's not the vibe.
It's not the vibe.
Right? How about Bruno Mars, right? This thing?
Versus this.
That's the vibe. Right? Oh, so hip.
Your hands can have a huge effect over the tone. Give us a few different examples of, you know, how your hands might affect the tone.
I mean, here, just with a pick, right? If I'm digging in close to the neck, such a different sound than a palm muted sound. Then the classic Carol K, right?
Yeah. So what Ian's doing there, play that again?
Yeah.
So he's muting with his right hand here. And he's playing with a pick, obviously. So there's 2 specific things you're doing to alter that tone. And if you want to get that mute there, I always call it the karate chop. You go, wah! And then you just kind of like rotate your hand round and then play with that pick. What else? Let's talk about like Geddy Lee, for instance.
If we get rid of the pick, right, his sound is really about his right hand. So, right, I would probably play... But Geddy is playing...
Completely different tone,
Totally.
Same bass, same EQ, same everything.
Right.
Sounds completely different.
And imagine if I went back here and played that, you know, like Jocko. Totally
Again,
different
completely
sound.
different, yeah.
Versus in front, really hitting the bass. And I almost never play that way, but when you're trying to emulate certain players or certain sounds, it's undeniably a sound versus this.
100%.
So different.
Yeah, 100%. For me, there's 3 places.
Yes.
Predominantly, right? One is over the bridge pickup.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Next is over the neck pickup.
Right.
which is just, it's got a bit more rounder sound, and then over the neck as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually love that.
Oh, it sounds awesome. Yeah.
Let's jump on to tip number 3, and it's all about these things. Okay, so here I've got the P bass back again, and you can hear, or you can see that it's got flat wounds on it, and Ian's got a P bass, and that has got tape wounds on it. Both of these strings are going to give you more of an old school tone and sound. Yeah, similar kind of vibe. These are kind of a bit brighter, I guess.
Yeah.
You know,
and this was a
brighter.
huge surprise to me when I bought a set of black nylon tapes. I thought they were going to be the darkest, thuddiest sounding string, but they're almost more like a nylon string acoustic guitar sound. There's a really nice top end to them. They're really lovely sounding strings, but they're not quite as like thuddy as a broken in flat wound.
I have taught a bunch of students that have like really been like down on their tone, and they're like, oh, I don't like my tone, stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, give me your bass, I play. And I'm like, dude, when's the last time you changed your strings?
Sure.
And they're like, 6 months ago. It really, really makes a difference. We're going to A-B these so you can hear the difference between dead rounds and newish rounds. Are they newish?
Yeah, they're newish. Yep, for sure.
Yeah. If you play something,
sure,
I'll play it back. I'll try and play it back. That was lucky. So this is where you're going to hear a real difference with the strings here. What was it? Can you hear how much body that's got? It's just got like, it's like the low end, and that's what kind of goes when your strings are old like this. The low end goes and the high end goes, and it just goes.
It's so true. That's right. It sort of compresses into the middle.
Yeah. Now there are certain things, if you've got an active bass like this, there are certain things that you can do to kind of rectify it. So for instance, I can boost the bass a bit.
Yeah. And this sounds like it has more bottom than this. Now this to me sounds a little nasally.
Shall I get and I haven't put the treble on either, so let me put a bit of treble on there as well. Let me.
Yes.
Let's jump into actually the pickups. If you've got a bass like this, for instance, right, which is a P bass, well, it's only got one pickup, so you can't select different pickups. You can roll off the tone at, varied degrees of that, but that's really it. Right. And that's not a bad thing. I love it. It is like the ultimate workhorse for me. I think they're freaking awesome basses, and they do what they do really well, but they're not super versatile, okay? Whereas something like what Ian's playing here, which is a jazz bass, is different. You've got two different pickups. There is a pickup under that gubbins there, and you've got a pickup here, and you've got a volume for each pickup, and you've also got a tone. So you can play the neck pickup on its own, which is going to give you a different tone. You can play the bridge pickup on its own, which is going to give you a different tone. And you can roll the tone off on as well as you're playing it.
And you can also play it, which is how I'll start, with both pickups on full.
Both pickups on
full. Right,
full,
and that's a completely different sound as well. So should I do the Paul Turner? Paul Turner impression here?
Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Paul.
So that's both pickups wide open. Now let's just hear what that sounds like with the neck pickup on. Oh. Now I could start rolling off the tone as well to see what that does. Let's check it out. Oh. It's a bit
right.
Okay, all the way back on for everything. So now we're just going to go to bridge pickup, soloed. Here we go, bridge pickup. Tight. Now we can't forget EQ. We need to talk about EQ, right?
Sure.
And when I bought my first guitar, there was like, I got an amp and it had like bass, middle and treble, and I had no freaking clue what any of them meant or what to do.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. I just wanted somebody to come along and go like, you know what? There's a few different things you can do, but here's a great starting point. That's what we're going to give you, right? When I plug into any bass amp, I've always got like a standard that I go to, a kind of sort of like a home bass. Have you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
yes.
What's yours?
Mine is all knobs at noon.
Mine is all knobs at noon. Yeah.
And then maybe there's like a comfort bump of bass.
Yeah, so I've normally got everything at 12 o'clock, okay? So bass, middle, treble at 12 o'clock. I boost the bass a little bit to like 1 or 2 o'clock for that comfort boost.
It is nice.
Comfort boost. And then me specifically, I sometimes dial back that treble just a touch, like just a touch. And I very rarely do anything other than that. It's normally just that. Like, you know, maybe I'll play a gig and it's like a boomy stage and I might turn down the bass a little bit, or I might, you know, bring up the treble a tiny bit. But in general, it's like pretty much all at 12 o'clock. And if you're wondering if other bass players are like, you know, doing that as well, other pros, like 99.9% of pros do exactly the same thing. There's so many people I've, you know, had that conversation with. They're like, yeah, but just, you know, all 12 o'clock, just leave it. That's it. Okay, now before we go any further, just wanted to give you a quick shout and remind you of that free bass toolkit that you can download and get for free. I'll put the URL on the screen here. There's lessons about how to understand the modes. If if bass theory kind of like, or music theory confuses you, it's going to really fix you up there. We also talk about more tone stuff. We talk about what to look out for when you're buying a bass as well. You know, there's a bunch of still cool stuff. I'll put the link in the description. Go grab that. And then with that said, thanks so much for watching today. I've been Scott Devine. This has been Ian Martin Allison, and we will see you next time. Take it easy.
You don't need to see his identification. He doesn't even say that, does he? These are not the droids you're looking for. Cool. So cool. Oh. Did you know that Venus is the only, out of all the planets in our solar system, the only planet that spins clockwise?
Okay, but which way does the Earth spin though?
Anti-clockwise.